Hello and welcome to Saints Live, the final whistle. I'm Steve Forbes.
And I'm Kenzie Benali.
And a bit of a cliche game of two halves here at St Mary's. The Southampton and West Ham play out a 1-1 draw. Now here to discuss it with us, we have our guests again, Dean Hammond and Joe Prince-Wright. Before we get into the game, Joe, you weren't at this match, but you're in the stands of some football stadium. Where are you?
I'm up at Anfield ahead of Liverpool Man City, Steve. So great atmosphere building here. Obviously, in the press room, I had the Saints game on, and everyone was kind of crowded around, and West Ham fans, Saints fans, and just melding the two games together, really.
Got the baseball cap on as well, keeping a low profile there.
Yeah, I'm trying to do my best Jurgen Klopp impression, so I'm going to get going to keep growing the beard out, and maybe I'll get there.
Fair enough. Well, we'll discuss the game. Let's get your general thoughts on how you felt it went. Dean, we were saying off air, a draw felt like a fair result today.
Yeah, I think so, Steve. I think, like you mentioned there, it was a game of two halves. I thought Southampton were the better team in the first half, and West Ham in the second. Lots of chances in the game for both teams, especially Southampton in the first half. Thought the energy the players had put in and determination in that first half in particular was very, very good. I thought they did the basics in the first half very well in terms of winning second balls. Putting West Ham under pressure. The ball down the side for Che Adams was very, very effective and created some chances and deservedly went in front, I thought. Really, really did. And then second half, different West Ham team, created chances, put some pressure on Southampton. Fairness to Southampton, defended well, especially from set pieces today. I think you have to give the team credit from that because there's been a bit of a weakness so far this season, but they defended very, very well from set pieces. But it took a very, very good goal from Declan Rice to get West Ham level. And then it was like, how will Southampton respond from this? How will they mentally stay within the game? And they did that. They did, and it was even. You could probably say West Ham maybe finished a little bit stronger. But generally, I think that's a point game for Southampton, and very, very good to stop those consistent run of defeats and get some points back on the board, build some confidence going into the Bournemouth game on Wednesday. So disappointment because Southampton were leading, but no real disappointment because I think they played against a good West Ham team, are full of confidence today, got some very good attacking players. So for me personally, I think that's a point game.
And how did you see the game, Joe? As Dean said, West Ham grew into the game, maybe Southampton holding on slightly at the end, but still a valuable point nonetheless.
I think most things before the game was a bit up and down, much like this season, in terms of 45 minutes here, good, 45 minutes there, not so great. I think a draw was a fair result, and I think West Ham will probably go away thinking they should have nicked it. But there were some big chances, especially in the first half for Che Adams, when Saints looked good, when they went more direct. So some promising signs, some not so promising signs. Again, kind of the season in the microcosm of a 90-minute game there for Saints. But overall, you can't be disappointed with a point against West Ham. They are a very, very good team, and they're going to be battling for the European spot once again this season.
And Joe, you were speaking before the game about Roman Perro's goal last season, and he was at it again this afternoon to put Saints in front. Could you talk us through that goal? Because West Ham had a few issues with it.
They did, obviously, with the throw-in, was it a foul throw? Carl Walker's feet as his foot looked really close to being on the pitch, and West Ham were not happy about that. And then when the ball broke, dropped down to Roman Perro on the edge of the box. Jared Bowen was right there. Referee kind of got in the way a little bit, Bowen thought. I'm not quite sure about that one. But then Perro got that little bit of luck I was talking about before the game that Saints just missing this season. Got a nice deflection, went into the bottom corner, but I want to see him in more attacking position. Said that before the game. I think getting him forward as much as possible really adds some of the Saints' game. Both fullbacks are really comfortable on the ball. And I think we saw Saints are ordered to being quite brave in the first half. Che Adams got in behind. They caused West Ham problems. Yes, a little bit of luck, a little bit fortunate. I think over the course of the season, those things kind of even themselves out. The Saints deserve that little bit of luck with the opener, but West Ham and David Moyes will not feel that way.
What about yourself, Dean? How did you see that goal? Would you have felt aggrieved if that had gone against you in your playing days? And also, what did you make of Southampton's other chances? Because Che Adams had a couple too.
To be honest, Steve, I think I probably would have felt a little bit aggrieved. And I think Southampton have got fortunate there. But like Joe mentioned before the game, they deserved a little bit of luck. I don't actually know the exact ruling on it. And when I was younger, it was foot behind the line. So if that is still the case, then I can see why West Ham would be disappointed with that. But I actually think the West Ham players, or a majority of the West Ham players, are actually moaning at the referee for getting in the way of Bowen to be able to get the ball under control. So I think that's really what they're appealing against. So whether they've checked that or not, and the referee's comfortable with it, the throw's not been highlighted, I'm not too sure what VAR have actually looked at there. I'm sure they reviewed the throw on because it was so evident, but they've not overturned it. So maybe it's not clear and obvious, or the ruling's changed, in my opinion. But I think Southampton deserved to go in front at that point. They were on top. They were putting pressure on West Ham. It wasn't the most creative. It wasn't the most fluent attacking scenarios that we saw from Southampton, but it was effective. That ball down the side for Shea Adams, his pace, his power, his strength were causing West Ham all sorts of problems. He got in once where he muscled the defender and had a strike at goal, really good save from the goalkeeper. Again, he got in again when Adam Armstrong came narrow and won a header, won a second ball. Again, Southampton doing the basics very, very well. Again, good first touch and then a strike at goal. So not really clear chances, but good opportunities for Shea Adams, where I think that's where he's at his best, where he's instinctive. And he couldn't have done much more there. There were good saves from the goalkeeper. Again, Elanusi had a strike. Goalkeeper makes a really, really good save. So there was chances for Southampton. And I think that would be, I don't want to use the word disappointment because it's not disappointment, but maybe a little bit of frustration with Southampton. They couldn't get that second goal while they're on top. And if they had got that second goal against West Ham, with the amount of fixtures and games they've been playing at the moment, they may have just felt that little bit of fatigue come into their legs, and it may have just drained them mentally. And Southampton then would have been able to really take control of that game in the second half. But credit to West Ham, they fought their way back into the game and got a deserved point. But Southampton in that first half were very, very good.
Joe, looking at other significant moments in that match, just how big a blow was it to see Armel Bella-Kotchap coming off on 40 minutes?
Big blow, Kenzie. I think he's been so good this season. Obviously, he got called up to the Germany squad. He's fantastic at the heart of Saints' defence. We saw him. It was a tough afternoon against Scamacca, who was pulling him and Salisu everywhere, but really up to that. And it was a really weird injury because obviously he made a good initial tackle to stop Scamacca getting in behind, but then seemed to obviously fall over and twist his shoulder or elbow. He kind of had it in a bit of a sling there when he was coming off. And those can be really tricky injuries to see. If surgery's needed, it's not as simple as just popping it back in and he'll be fine. So fingers crossed he isn't out for that long, but we know how important he is to the Southampton team, and he's been one of the signings of the summer across the whole Premier League. So yeah, hopefully he's not out for too long, because it seemed like in the second half Saints missed him because even though he's so young, he just gives them a calmness about himself because he's so assured, so positive on the front foot. And yeah, that really seemed to knock him back a little bit, especially just after half-time and early in the second half when they did concede the goal.
Looking at the stats, Dean, West Ham's had 16 shots before Declan Rice equalised in the 64th minute. We were watching up here in the stands. It looked like a good goal, but what went wrong from a Southampton perspective?
I'm not too sure what went wrong, to be honest, Steve. I think sometimes you just have to applaud that it was brilliance from Declan Rice. Really good midfield player where he's received the ball and he's played that ball round the corner with the outsider's foot with full intention to receive the ball back again. He got it back from Ben Rama, I think, with a deft touch. So he put it into his path where he didn't have to change his stride. He didn't have to have that extra touch to allow a Southampton defender to come out and block it or allow a midfield player to be able to recover after the 1-2. And he just uses a Southampton defender to just curl it round. So Bazunu doesn't really get a chance to react to it or see it clearly. So I think it's a fantastic goal from Declan Rice. It really, really is. I'm sure if you look at it in more detail, there's a little bit of moments where a player could have come across or was overcovered or not quite recovered quick enough. But I think it was a very, very good goal from Declan Rice, and he has that ability. And I've heard David Moores speak about it many times, where he wants him to add that to his game, and he believes he can add that to his game, more goals and more assists from midfield. He had a second strike later on where I think it was Salas who actually made a really good block with his chest, and it would have been a similar strike and a similar goal if it had got past him. So I think it was a good goal and an equaliser, and I think today it was going to take something like that for West Ham to get back into the game, because they had chances. But Southampton have been pretty solid, rode their luck on occasions, like you say, with West Ham having 16 shots on goal. But yeah, not too much wrong from Southampton, if I'm all honest. Just a bit of brilliance from Declan Rice.
Joe, before the game, we were shining a spotlight and praising Gavin Bazunu following his performance against Manchester City last weekend. Once again, he made some smart saves and good decisions this afternoon.
Yeah, very solid, Kenzie. I think the goal obviously a bit unsighted, the way that Rice just pulled it around all the defenders in front of him, so couldn't really think from that. I would say on the ball, and also I just think, again, he's growing with every 90 minutes. He's still a young player, but what he had to do, did it really well. Good shot stopping. And I think that going forward, yes, obviously getting that clean sheet is now the big target for him. As a goalkeeper, sometimes that's out of your control. With a goal of that quality, or if defensively just gives Declan Rice a bit too much space to pick his spot, players across the Premier League are too good to not take that kind of opportunity. So I didn't think Bazunu did anything wrong today. And at the moment, he's not the reason why Saints haven't been winning games. So I think he's going to keep growing with confidence, and another very...
All right, well, Dean, the famous phrase goes, if you can't win it, then don't lose it. You touched on it at the top of the programme about feeling it was a valuable point. I take it you're pretty satisfied with the result, all in all.
I am, Steve. I am. I think it was an improved performance from Southampton, which is a positive. Created chances, scored a good goal, even though there was a little bit of luck to it. But West Ham finished very, very strong. They did, and like we just mentioned, touched on, 16 shots at goal is a lot for an away team, really. They showed real togetherness to come back into the team, and they've got a good squad of players, and they've got some good attacking players. They really have. You know, Paqueta, I thought, was very, very good for West Ham today and was improving as the game got on. Stramaca, I thought, again, was a real handful for the Southampton defenders. Looks like a real bright spark and a very, very good signing for West Ham. Then you've got Antonio that comes on. You've got Ben Rama that comes on. They've got real variety in their attacking options. And they were growing in confidence, changed their shape late on to try and go and win the game. So credit to Southampton, because after being 1-up and then you concede a goal to go 1-1, I think it was just after the hour mark, that half an hour sometimes when your form hasn't been great, when your results haven't been great, is a long 30 minutes. And they dug in. They really, really did, and had some half opportunities themselves. But I thought it was a good defensive display from Southampton, especially the goalkeeper. I agree with Joe. He's grown in confidence. He's grown in belief. For such a young man, we forget that, you know, goalkeepers don't really play in the Premier League at his age. He's improving all the time. So credit to him today.
Well, Joe, in just 3 days' time, Southampton will be back to Premier League action. Of course, we face Bournemouth at the Vitality Stadium. What are your early thoughts ahead of that one?
It's going to be a tough game. Obviously, Bournemouth are absolutely flying at the moment with Gary O'Neill, still unbeaten, the caretaker manager. So hopefully you can hear me. But I think it's going to be a really, really good game. I think it's going to be open. Bournemouth are solid defensively. We saw against Fulham, they like to take chances as well. So I think there'll be opportunities for Saints on the break if they go more direct, like they did to Shea Adams today. I think that's where they get some joy against Bournemouth. But if they win at Bournemouth after this draw against West Ham today, then I think that would be a very good return for tough games, considering the form that West Ham and Bournemouth are in right now. So really looking forward to a South Coast derby. It's not the South Coast derby, but it'll be a great atmosphere at the Vitality. And I think now it falls into the must-win category for Ralph Hasenhüttl and Saints, I think. And if they can win that one, it really would be a big step forward, I think, after the point today. So fingers crossed, and let's try and take the positives from today and build on that at Bournemouth.
Definitely. Hopefully the football at Anfield, Joe, is better than their Wi-Fi signal up there. Dean, thinking ahead to the Bournemouth game, they're up to the dizzy heights of 9th in the Premier League now. No one would have really thought about that just a few weeks ago. What are your thoughts ahead of the match?
Well, it's always going to be a tough game, Steve. Two young, enthusiastic, energetic teams going against each other. Bournemouth, like you just mentioned, are in really, really good form under Gary O'Neill there. They've picked up. It seems as though they've got some belief and determination about them. So yeah, it's going to be a tough fixture. But I still fancy Southampton. I really do. They, in terms of this fixture, they will have the experience. They've played it many, many times before. They've won it many, many times as well. So who's the pressure on? Probably Southampton, the bigger team. But I think if they go there and they play how Southampton want to play it, with that energy they played first half today, that being brave, being confident on the ball, playing as a team, winning second balls, doing the basics really, really well. In a so-called derby game, Steve, you have to do the basics very, very well. You have to win those second balls. You have to win those individual battles. And once you do, then you can implement your game plan. Then you can, the more creative players will get that extra 1-2 yards to be able to take a player on, to get a cross in, to get a shot at goal. So you have to earn the right. And I know that's a common saying, but you really do have to earn the right in a derby game. I'm sure the atmosphere will be good. And after getting a point today and a positive performance, I'm sure the players will be looking forward to it.
Well, Dean, Joe, always a pleasure to have you both with us. Thanks ever so much for your company. Joe, enjoy the game at Anfield. Take care, both of you. We'll see you soon. Thanks ever so much to you as well for tuning in to another Saints Live. As we've mentioned, we go again in just a few days' time, Steve. Yep. So do make sure you join us on Wednesday as we build up to the game against Bournemouth. We'll be live an hour and 15 before kick-off. See you then.
See you soon.